This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome to Chapter 1 of our series, Building Your First AI Chatbot with ChatGPT. In this episode, titled Introduction to AI Chatbots and ChatGPT, we'll explore the core functionalities of AI chatbots and how they can transform the way we interact with technology. So, whether you're a tech enthusiast or just curious about the world of AI, let's get started. Last year, one AI chatbot quietly handled roughly a quarter of a typical Google search's traffic, without owning a single website. A student used it to draft an essay, a founder to sketch a product, a nurse to decode lab notes. None of them wrote a line of code. That same system is also co-writing novels, debugging code, role-playing as a tough interview panel, and walking people through tax forms line by line. Underneath, though, it isn't thinking or understanding in a human way. Models like ChatGPT are statistical engines trained to predict the next token in a sequence. Yet that simple objective, scaled to trillions of parameters and trained on vast text corpora, unlocks behavior that feels conversational, contextual, even creative. This shift matters because it changes how we interact with software. Instead of clicking through menus and forms, you describe what you want in plain language and iterate. The interface becomes a dialogue. In this series, we'll treat ChatGPT not as magic, but as a tool you can systematically probe, shape, and eventually extend. So you can start building your first AI-powered experiences with intent, not hype. Under the hood, today's chatbots sit in a larger ecosystem of tools, data pipes, and guardrails. The model is just one piece, like the lead in a jazz band that still relies on the drummer, bassist, and sound engineer to make the music work in a real venue. Around ChatGPT, there are APIs, plugins, vector databases, and workflow engines that let you connect it to your own data, automate steps, and enforce rules. In this series, we'll slowly zoom out from the chat window to that bigger system, so you can see exactly where your first AI project might plug in, and what to build first. Most of what you see in a chat window looks deceptively simple: a box, some text, a blinking cursor. Behind that minimal UI, systems like ChatGPT are doing three things that matter for you as a builder: interpreting, generating, and constraining. First, interpretation. When you type, "Turn this angry customer email into a calm, professional reply," you're not giving the model code, you're giving it intent plus constraints. Modern chatbots quietly break that down into pieces. What's the task? What tone is desired? What must be preserved? Facts, dates, commitments, and what must be changed? Emotion, wording, structure. This is why two prompts that look similar to a human can yield very different results in practice. A small change in how you express intent can nudge the model toward a different set of patterns. Second, generation. The model doesn't look up answers, it composes them fresh each time. That's why it can adapt style, length, and structure on demand. Legal brief, lesson plan, bug report, onboarding email. In product terms, this makes one model behave like many specialized tools, depending on how you frame the request. Product teams are increasingly wrapping that flexibility into narrow experiences. A contract reviewer, a coding assistant, a marketing coach, by repeatedly steering the same underlying model toward a specific job. Third, constraints. Left on its own, a raw model will sometimes hallucinate, drift off topic, or ignore business rules. So real-world deployments layer on instructions, policies, and post-processing. A bank might require the system to flag uncertain answers instead of guessing. A healthcare app might force every response through a final checker that looks for risky wording. This invisible scaffolding is where a lot of practical engineering now happens. One analogy that helps here: building with ChatGPT is less like wiring a single machine and more like curating an art exhibition. The model can produce a huge range of pieces, but you decide the theme, layout, and what never makes it onto the wall. For you, the key shift is to think in terms of roles and workflows, not features. A chatbot is vague. An assistant that turns messy meeting transcripts into 3-bullet decision summaries, pushes them into a project board, and tags owners is concrete. The underlying model is the same. The value comes from how precisely you describe the job and how tightly you integrate it into an existing process. As we go, we'll move from ad hoc prompting toward designing these roles and workflows systematically. Think of concrete cases. A solo founder uses ChatGPT as a first-pass UX reviewer. Paste in a messy onboarding flow. Ask for 3 ways to remove friction. Then A/B test the best suggestion with real users. A support lead connects it to past tickets so it can propose answer drafts that match existing tone and policies, cutting handling time without changing the help desk tool. A teacher feeds in a syllabus and asks for 5 quiz questions per week, tuned to different difficulty levels and learning goals. Then edits the best ones. Beyond text, teams pair ChatGPT with spreadsheets, CRMs, or Notion. A recruiter has it summarize interview notes into a structured scorecard. A product manager has it turn meeting logs into user stories with acceptance criteria. A marketer has it map raw feedback into themes, then drafts a roadmap proposal. Your leverage doesn't come from using ChatGPT in the abstract. It comes from stitching it into tiny, specific moments where words already drive work and decisions. As these systems mature, expect them to quietly weave into routines you barely noticed today. Narrating dashboards aloud on your commute, translating hallway conversations into follow-up tasks, or turning a whiteboard photo into a draft spec. That raises uneasy questions. Who owns all these derived artifacts, and how long do they persist? Policy, not just code, will decide whether your future assistant feels like a loyal studio partner or a mirror that reports everything it sees. As you start building, treat each small experiment like planting a seed in a new garden bed. Label it, observe how it behaves, and resist the urge to declare success or failure too fast. Over time, the real power won't come from a single clever prompt, but from a growing ecosystem of tiny, well-tuned assistants woven into your daily work. Here's your challenge this week. Open ChatGPT and run 3 distinct experiments with it. 1. Use it as a brainstorming partner to generate 10 content ideas for your actual job or project. 2. Paste a real email or document you've written and have it rewrite it in 2 different tones. For example, more professional and more casual. And 3. Give it a real problem you're stuck on and ask it to walk you through a step-by-step plan, then actually try one of the steps. For each experiment, refine your prompt at least once. For example, make it shorter, use bullet points, assume I'm a beginner, and compare the first and second answers. By the end of the week, you'll have a mini before and after set of examples that shows you exactly where ChatGPT is most useful in your real workflow. This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. To keep learning with structured courses and more insights, go to owlup.co. Until tomorrow!